Whose great ancestors were on opposite sides of a racially charged massacre 150 years ago have formed an unexpected friendship as they try to set the record straight.
What was once called a riot is now being called a massacre in northern Louisiana town of Colfax. Dave McNamara takes us there in the heart of Louisiana.
A sign that has divided a community has brought two people together. It's an unlikely bond. Their great ancestors were on opposing sides in one of the bloodiest acts of racial violence in the state's history. The hostility stemmed from a disputed governor's election that filtered down to a violent clash at the Grant Parish Courthouse in Colfax.
We're talking about 1873. We're in the throes of a lot of racial tension. The Union was basically occupying Louisiana.
Pastor Avery Hamilton of the First Baptist Church discovered that his great-great-great-grandfather, Jesse McKinney, was the first person killed as racial tensions were rising.
Jesse was a landowner, and he was on his farm working. Four riders rode up and shot him.
As rumors of more violence spread, blacks hunkered down at the courthouse as a white mob and militia formed outside. It turned into a gun battle.
The courthouse was set on fire, and the blacks rushing out of the courthouse was shot.
Hamilton had tried to get the parish police jury to take down the 1950s historical marker.
Why did you and others feel that it was so important that that sign be taken down?
Because it was misleading at best and a lie at worst.
He was a veteran of the Colfax riot.
Those efforts got a boost from Dean Woods of Houston, whose family is from Grant Parish. He made a startling discovery in his great-grandfather Bedford Woods' obituary.
Whoever wrote the obituary claimed he was a veteran of the Colfax riot and that he fought to maintain white supremacy in the South and to defeat the northern carpetbaggers.
Woods says his great-grandfather was 21 at the time of the massacre.
And the younger men were assigned to watch them that night and decided to have a little fun that evening, and they began to shoot the unarmed, surrendered men.
Today, it's estimated that 100 blacks were killed. The 3 whites who died in the battle have a memorial in the town cemetery. It says they fell fighting for white supremacy.
You had read about it quite extensively. You knew the story, were probably horrified by what had happened in history.
Indeed.
And then you discovered that your great-grandfather was very much involved in that.
Correct.
Had to be like a gut punch.
It was, and I didn't know how to process it because clearly I couldn't do anything about it. I mean, it was part of my history.
Woods also wanted an accurate history, and that's how he met Hamilton.
He said, look, you don't need to feel guilty about what your great-grandfather did. You know, you weren't here.
And we sat there and we just immediately started working on trying to come up with some ideas to memorialize what took place, put it in its proper context.
They discovered that the state, not the parish, owned the marker, and the state took it down. But the police jury refuses to put up a new sign, since they have no way of knowing the historical accuracy. And there was another consequence of the Colfax massacre. Several whites convicted in federal court of conspiring to deprive black victims of their rights had those convictions overturned by the Supreme Court.
That court case is cited as one of the major events that ended Reconstruction in the South and ushered in Jim Crow and gave free rein to the Ku Klux Klan, the White League, and other white supremacy groups to murder and kill black people who they felt were moving up too high in the world.
It's an uncommon bond with a common goal: to correct history and begin to heal racial divisions in this community. With the heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara, Fox 8 Local First.
The Colfax historical marker is now in storage at the State Museum for possible inclusion in a future exhibit. For more information, log on to theheartoflouisiana.com.